guys, and welcome back. It's your girl Nadine, and before we get started in this video, make sure you do all that good stuff: like, share, subscribe and comment on this video and give me a thumbs up. So if you're new here, welcome to Annie and Nayy. If you've been here before, you're a regular, welcome back. It's nice to see you guys. So let's start with this video. I'm gonna tell you guys my top 10 tips that will help you through this course, this midwifery course, and get you to that degree of being a midwife at the end of the 3 years. So yeah, I'm gonna give you guys basically, you know, basic top 10 tips that helped me get through it and kept me together. Okay, so let's get into it. Tip number one is attend all your classes and lectures. I would advise that you don't miss any lectures, any theory preparations that your lectures and course tutors put together. Make sure you actually attend them, because you're dealing with people's lives. You have to care for people's lives are in your hands. If you miss a very important lesson and then you're thrown into either practice or you're thrown into the real world and you miss that very important lesson, you're going to be there thinking, I don't know what to do, because you didn't have that background knowledge. So I would very much suggest that you attend all your lessons. And if you can't attend lessons, for example, life gets in the way, there's a genuine reason you can't attend your lessons, make sure you catch up on what was taught in that lesson. Do your reading around that subject that was taught. Ask for PowerPoints, ask for handouts. Just make sure you don't miss out on valuable content that has been taught to each student. Make sure you know what each lesson was about. So my second tip number 2, is reading. I can't stress this enough. Make sure you do your own reading. So whatever you're taught during a lecture, during a lesson, make sure you go to the library and do your own reading on that subject. You're only going to be in the lesson for say an hour or 2 hours. There's not much information they can teach you, so do your own reading. Get books out, get learning material, get some research printed, get some guidelines, do your own notes, do your own reading. That will help you get through this course. If you do your own learning and do your own reading, you gain more knowledge, you gain more understanding, you're able to pass your exams better, you're able to write your essays better with a more clearer and a more understanding with your assignments, with your your practice when you're dealing with certain situations in placements, when you're looking after women, when you're in emergency situations. Because you've done that extra reading, the rationale behind what you need to do, you understand it better. Point number 3 is attend your placement hours. So if you have 4 weeks of placement, for my university we had 4 weeks of placement, 4 weeks of uni, 4 weeks of placement. I know some unis do 6 weeks on and 6 weeks off, but for me our placement was 4 weeks. So what I would suggest is make sure you attend your placements, make sure you do your hours. You don't want to have to catch up on hours at the end of your course when everyone's on annual leave, when everyone's on holiday. You're still on placement trying to catch up on hours. Do your hours on time. I found myself in a situation in second year where I had loads of hours to make up. So when everyone was on on annual leave, everyone was flying out doing their thing, I was still on placement making up hours. Thankfully I only had a week and a half to make up, so I wasn't there for weeks and weeks. But even still, I would suggest tip number 3, make sure you attend your placement and make sure you get those hours on time. Otherwise it will add up, and if you don't have your hours made up, if you don't have those hours, you will not progress into the next year. You will not qualify until you have those hours. So make sure you attend placement and you have those hours. Tip number 4. So tip number 4 is make sure you seek help when you need help. this can be applied for placement and theory. If you're struggling with, say for example, coursework, exams, lectures, seek help. You have personal tutors, you have lecturers, you have, you know, what are those people called? The university body council people. You have those people to talk to. So make sure you seek help. Even on placement, you have your CPFs, you have your mentors, you have you know, assigned buddies. Make sure you always talk to somebody if you are struggling. If you're finding it hard to keep up with the workload, or keep up with uni, keep up with lectures, attend placement, anything, don't suffer in silence, because at the end of the day it will just build up, and they will still expect you to meet those deadlines. But if you seek support and say you're struggling, they can help you and make a plan so that you can get everything done on time, and still, you know, there's kind of support there and leeway. If you need, you know, extension, mitigation with essays and exams, there's an option for you there, rather than you're struggling in life and you just kind of, okay, I haven't seeked help, I'm just going to submit this work and fail it. Don't do that. Just seek help. They can give you either an extension, they can either say, okay, you can mitigate, which means you can add, you can you know, do your essay later on, rather than submitting some rushed work and failing. So point number 5 is make sure you are organized as best as you can, and you start your assignments early. So for example, make sure you either, I don't know how people like to be organized, it's all, you know, to the individual. I had like a note, like a diary, like something like this, where I put, you know, I put my lessons in there, what I was going to study in that lesson. So before each lesson I did some reading behind it, so when I came to the lesson I wasn't completely clueless. I had my rota written down either in my book or in my phone on my calendar. So I, you know, I was like, okay, I have three night shifts this week, next week I have, you know, long days and a night shift. I was organized like that. And also, you know, I have this assignment due on this date. Make sure it's written down, it's prepared. As soon as I get an assignment, make sure that I organize my time so I can get that assignment started and finished on time, rather than rushing it late. I can't lie to you, I was one of them people that did my assignments late, and I suffered for it. Let me tell you now, first year I was like, yeah, you know, we got an assignment, I was like, I'll do the assignment, and then 2 weeks before it was handed in, I was just starting my assignment. The stress, I literally slept in that library. So avoid all that, avoid it. Do your assignments on time so that you don't have to be sleeping in a library like I did. Do them on time. You'll get better grades if you do them on time, because then you'll have time to kind of go over it, ask for feedback, ask for help. Just organize your time on midwifery as best as you can. Okay. Tip number 6 is, I would advise, for me, this is what helped me. I got a kind of like a little notebook during placement. So during placement, if there was things that were going on, for example, emergencies, or I was looking after a woman and it was a situation that I was not familiar with, I will write it in my notepad and just make little bullet points, so that when I go home I can do some reading on that, and then, you know, next time I am around that situation, I know how to handle it. I know I can recognize, you know, this situation when it came up. Yeah, so just writing down, you know, bits of information when you're on placement. If a mentor tells you to look up certain words, look up certain, you know, things, you can write it in your notepads. If you see drugs that you're not familiar with, you can quickly jot them down in your notepad, go home, read about that drug, and, you know, the next time you come, yes, you know that drug, you know what it's for, you know who to give it to, you know the side effects. So yeah, I highly recommend that you have like a little notepad that just lives in your pocket. Just write down things to remember, things that happen in placement. It's just a way of helping you learn during placement. So tip number 7 is don't feel like you have to buy a lot of books. In my first year I bought 2 books, and then in my second year I didn't buy any book. My third year I didn't buy any books apart from my little notebooks that I kept in my pockets. So that one thing I would suggest is don't buy every single book that is suggested to you. You could find these books in the library. Most of these books I found in the library. You can just go to the library and learn it out for a couple of weeks, couple months, rather than having to buy books that later on in life that you will not need, and you will just be spending money on a lot of books. So one thing I would suggest, don't spend a lot of money buying books. So tip number 8. Tip number 8 is show your initiative in placement. For example, put yourself forward when you're in placement. I would suggest that do not be that student midwife that is kind of, you know, in the background or always sitting at a desk, you know, not being involved, not putting themselves forward, doesn't look interested whatsoever, and you know, doesn't want that looks like that they don't want to be there. Don't be that student. Literally put yourself forward, ask questions, ask if you want to do something. Everything is scary. Everything, when I started placement I was scared. I was literally scared, but if you put yourself forward, you're going to learn that skill. You're going to be great at that skill. Challenge yourself. That's how you learn. Put yourself forward, show initiative. That's how you get good grades. Mentors will be looking at you like, yes, this student is putting themselves forward. I'm going to give them an excellent in their book. I'm going to give them a very good in their book. You don't want to be getting low grades because you're just, you know, in the background and you don't want to get involved. You're not asking questions, you're not putting yourself forward. Always put yourself forward, even when you're scared, even when you don't know. You can always ask them, can you show me? I don't know, and then let me do it next time. Always say that. Just get yourself involved, get your hands in there. Just don't be in the background waiting for everyone to kind of teach you and feed you knowledge. You need to kind of go out willing to learn, wanting to learn, have that, you know, that want in practice. Yeah, tip number 9 is making sure you have a support system. Midwifery can be quite tough. For me, it was overwhelming at times, and I needed kind of a release and like kind of something to take my mind off the stress. So I had a very good support system. I had a very good support system. I had things that I can do like YouTube and, you know, going on holiday, seeing my friends. You know, I had so many things to take my mind off it when it all got a bit too much. So one thing I would suggest is have a good support system around you. Have a hobby outside midwifery. It can get overwhelming as a student. You don't want to kind of drown, and when you drown is when you need to just look after your mental health, look after you, you know, physically, mentally, spiritually. Make sure that you're correct. If you are okay within yourself, you are able to look after a woman. If you're struggling with your mental health, if you're struggling physically, spiritually, mentally, how are you expected to look after someone else's life? So that's one thing I would suggest. Seek support, have a support system, have something outside of midwifery that can kind of take your mind off, you know, certain things that's going on around you. So the final tip number 10, that helped me through placement was books like these, you know, like little pocket books that you can have in your kind of uniform. So this is a midwifery medication book. So it has all the medication that you will use during pregnancy, breastfeeding, their side effects, contradictions, etc., who you can give it to, who you can't give it to. So this really helped me during my, you know, my 3 years on midwifery, because I wasn't great with medication. So getting this book helped me a lot, made me understand medication. I wasn't afraid to give medication. You know, when I saw medication on the drug chart, if I did, I would know what it was, and if I didn't know what it was, I would just take this out of my pocket. I'll look at the name of the medication on the drug chart, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, so this is what the medication is for, and this is what the medication is for, and this is why you're giving it to this woman. These are the side effects, and this is the contradiction, etc, etc. So this was very handy. I had it in my uniform every time I was on placement, just so I wasn't kind of confused or lost when it came to medication. You can also have a midwifery dictionary. This is an old one, so I'm not even going to show you. It's an old one. There is latest editions, etc, etc. So have a dictionary if you want. Helped me, but a midwifery dictionary, just, you know, certain terminology that you're not aware of. If you come across something that you're kind of like, what does that mean, you can quickly open the book and find it, and it will tell you what it is. So, you know, it's pocket sized, very light, carry it everywhere. But yeah, I wouldn't normally have both in my pocket, either one or the other. I kind of used this towards the beginning of my course, and I kind of didn't need it anymore. And this, I used it all the way through from first to third year. This was literally with me every single time. When it came to medication, this was a lifesaver. So I would suggest that you I don't know, find some handy reading materials that's going to help you through placement, and keep that on you. If it's like little cards with information about emergencies, etc, keep those on you, so that when you're either in an emergency, you can quickly have a look to kind of like remind you of what you need to do, etc. So yeah, that's one thing I would suggest. Just find out what's out there and what works best for you. Okay, so this is the part of the video that I'm going to be answering your questions. I kind of did like a post, and I asked you guys to send me your questions that you wanted me to answer in the video, and I got quite a few. So let's get into these questions. So someone said, which is the best university to study midwifery? That is subjective, so I can't pinpoint the best university to study midwifery, because I too have not been to every single university. So it's kind of up to you. So you go and attend your uni open days, and kind of, you know, fill out the uni, ask questions, and see what works best for you, which midwifery program is best for you. But in terms of the best uni, I can't give you the answer, because I'm not, you know, I don't know which uni is best for midwifery. It is kind of, you know, you have to go and, you know, find that out and go to the open days and kind of figure out which one works best for you. Okay, so the next question that I got was, how many days a week do you work as a full-time midwife? So as a full-time qualified midwife, you work 3 days a week. Each shift is 12 hours, and then within that month there's 1 week that you do 4 days a week of 12 hours of a 12-hour shift. So, you know, it's only 3 days on, and then you have the rest of the days off, and then 4 days on, and then it just continues like that. But each trust is different, and obviously if you're in community where it's like a 9 to 5, that's just Monday to Friday. And yeah, so that's basically the pattern. So the next question was, how many ladies do you care for in one shift? So this all depends in your kind of where you are in the hospital. So if you are on labor ward, it's kind of one-to-one care. So if a lady is in labor, you're expected to just look after one woman. You will never be given 2 laboring women at the same time on labor ward, because you need to focus on one woman at a time. So yeah, one woman on labor ward. On postnatal ward, you're given, for example, a bay, so you're looking after multiple women. You can have up to, I think, 6 or 7 women at a time. Some trust is more, some trust is less, depending on the trust. But on postnatal ward, it's not a one-to-one kind of thing. You're looking after more than one woman. Also on antenatal wards, you're looking after more women, it's not just one. So it's only on labor ward that you'll be working with one woman, and it's a one-to-one care. And if you're in a community, you're looking after you're going out and seeing multiple women, or you're in a clinic, you know, seeing multiple women in a clinic. So the next question that I got is, after uni, do you know how long it takes to get employed, and does the university help you find a job? It all depends on you as a person. If you are in your final year and you are actively looking for a job, in, say for example, you have 6 months left and you're looking for a job, you can get a job as soon as you qualify. The uni can help in getting you a job. Also, where you do placement, they kind of like to take their own people that they've trained, so it can happen quite quickly being employed after a midwifery degree, but it all depends on what's going on you know, in the world, and if people are employing. It all depends. You can find a job quickly, and also it can take some time because of the availability of jobs. It all depends. If you start early, within like towards the end of your course, and you start applying, you start going to interview, you get a job quite quickly. If you get a job within the trust that you trained, you'll get a job very quickly. So yeah, it all depends. If you want to take a break after your midwifery course, you can take a break and then, you know, find a job after that. But yeah, it all depends on you as an individual, on the people that are hiring, on the job availability. So yeah, it all depends. So the next question I got is, how do you balance YouTube and your midwifery course? I'm guessing this person is also a YouTuber and is currently studying midwifery or about to study. So I balance YouTube and midwifery because I make time for it and I organize my time. So for example, if I have annual leave, if I have, you know, the weekend off, I just schedule it into my calendar. So instead of going out with, you know, my friends, I'll stay home and I'll do YouTube. Or, you know, if I have, you know, if I'm doing 3 shifts a week, so the other you know 3 days I'll be, you know, focusing either on YouTube. And that's solely if I don't have any exams to prepare for or any essays to prepare for. If I have any essays and exams to prepare for, they go above my YouTube. If I kind of finish my exams and YouTube, if I finish my exams and assignments on time, then I do my YouTube. But I can't, you know, it was always my, you know, assignments and exams first, then I'll figure out how and when I'm going to do my YouTube. But I kind of balanced, you know, midwifery and YouTube, and, you know, it's kind of just having a social life. My social life was YouTube. It's just about organizing your time, adding it into your calendar. So okay, so I've got uni, you know, 3 days a week or 2 days a week. The other days I'm going to do some reading. When I finish my reading and I have spare time, I'll focus on my YouTube and I do a YouTube video. It doesn't take me long to do a YouTube video, probably like half a day, even less than that, to do a YouTube video. So I just kind of fit it in as and when I can, when I don't have a lot going on. So that is the end of my video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that's helped you and that's, you know, kind of made you guys at ease. If you're starting in September, congratulations for getting a spot, and if you're currently still a student, keep going, you can do this. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, don't forget to do all that good stuff. Like, share, subscribe and comment, and I'll definitely see you guys in the next video. I have something very important planned for you next week, so make sure you hit that notification bell. It's going to be midwifery related. I have a special midwifery video coming up next week. I'm going to try to do more because you guys have, you know, commented that you want more midwifery videos, so I'm going to try to do one video a week. So next week I have something very special for you guys, midwifery based, so make sure you stay tuned, and I see you guys in my next video. Bye for now. Yes.